How did the world get so ugly? But the culture tutor. See, I don't even think the world got ugly. It's just that, well, to a degree. I think that first of all, as children, we take colors in more effectively than we do as adults. But also, we don't use that many like bright colors realistically. At least in my opinion. Anyways, we'll jump in. This is gonna be interesting. What he's gonna say, because I like these more philosophical topics. We'll see. Accurate. I think also what I've noticed, I think vandalism is also a little more tolerable than it was back then. I think, like, maybe just me. And then obviously architecture is one of those things where I'm like, yep, that's a problem. That's a problem. Modern architecture is ugly, but it's also more, what's the word? More effective. It's also more effective. That's the problem. We need to find a way where we can make things pretty, but also still effective, cheap, reliable.
I'm by the River Thames in London. Now, it's a charming place where tourists love to come. But why do they love coming here? Well, you've got views of iconic buildings like the Houses of Parliament.
Interesting. I mean, yeah. I have a theory on why vandalism can't spell it. It's more accepted. I wonder why. I wonder who's committing the vandalism.
St. Paul's Cathedral, but that's not all. Have a look at this. It's a typical modern lamppost. Do you like it?
These fuckers are so ugly. Ours are also really ugly. And what I've also noticed is, in general, the light. Right? We switched it out to like these, right? Back in the day, I don't know if you guys still have it everywhere, but at least here, we had like these orange lights, and now they're all replaced with these white lights. And sometimes I'm questioning which one is better. And I feel like that the white lights are worse than the orange ones. Like the orangey ones. I don't know how to say it. The sand people. Also, yeah, the sand people, but also the non-sand people. There's also a few non-sand people.
Well, it does its job, but not much else. But look over here at another lamppost. It does its job and a little bit more. It's details like these that help make...
True! This is peak! This is peak. They should be everywhere like this. Well, not everywhere, but like, they should be more fun. Why can't they design things more fun? I mean, at the end of the day, it comes down to like being cheap, right? Things used to be yellow. Bring back the yellow. Bring back the orange lights. True. It's just, I don't know. And houses are so ugly.
This is such a charming place to be. But these two lampposts don't just look different. They represent fundamentally different worldviews. If you want to understand any society, don't listen to what it says about itself. Look at what it creates.
Dude, I've also noticed, right? I've also noticed how they're trying to annihilate old buildings, like old districts, like city districts that have existed for years upon years, for decades. They're trying to get rid of those as well. I'm like, dude, They look so cool though, and it's like, why don't you want to preserve that culture? Why do you want to eradicate like these old buildings, right? There's plenty of these right here in Germany as well that look like from like a different time. I don't know why they want to remove those desperately. They should be protected, but that's not what they're doing. I mean, here they're absolutely removing them.
London's little lanes are charming now, but 150 years ago in places like this, you'd have had whole families crammed into these tiny rooms without running water. There would have been open cesspits spilling down the streets, and the stench of sewage boiling in the midday sun would have been unbearable. The whole city stank. It wasn't only horrible to live in, but genuinely dangerous.
I mean, that's not now the case anymore, right? So yeah, because having culture is racist if you aren't colorful. True. I forgot. I completely forgot that. Yeah, you're right.
See, at that point, London had a problem. It was the world's biggest city. Its population was growing every year, along with the construction of new factories and mills and dockyards. All those people, and
I know he said mills, but I heard milfs. How do you construct mills?
all that industry produced a lot of waste. It had to go somewhere. Where did it go? Into the Thames.
Yeah, it's pretty shit. Literally. So it was happening Mecca, crazy. Even there, it's crazy. Because every protest about everything and leave a lot of defense for nature and past culture. True, also, old historic sites from Islamic Golden Age and prophetic era getting destroyed and replaced by skyscrapers. Yeah, I mean, that's not really right. I think that happens at this point in every culture. It doesn't even matter. Global Homo is out to get you at this point. Joe, hi, how are you doing? Did somebody say MILFs? Yes, me! I said MILFs!
Something had to be done. And it was an engineer called Joseph Bazalgette who stepped in to construct London's new sewer network in the 19th century. Sewers which still carry London's waste today, rushing beneath me at this very moment. And he also constructed this embankment that I'm standing on to replace what was essentially a stinking swamp filled with rubbish and human waste and eels. It's impossible to calculate how many lives he saved, how many millions of lives.
Life was pretty shit. Like when cruisers remove waste, yeah, it's like bombarded into the ocean, yeah.
He improved. And he's commemorated here at a memorial that no one ever stops to look at. When Bazalgette's embankment was completed in 1870, it needed lighting, of course. And so a public competition was held to design the lamps that would line this new promenade. This was the winning design, featuring these peculiar...
That is so cool. We should do that here too. We should do that. We should bring that back. That's so cool. Like, let the public decide, like, just let, like, designs be submitted and let the public decide on how something should look. Why not? Why not? That's a cool idea.
Creatures. It's a little much, perhaps, but what's clear is that the Victorians took great pride in their embankment and thought it needed appropriately grand and dramatic decoration. See, these lamps were among the first public electric lighting in the world. This was a radical, revolutionary new technology. Crowds literally gathered to watch them be lit up for the first time. What the iPhone was in 2007, these lamps were in 1870. But looking at it now, you wouldn't know that. Those lampposts don't look modern to us now.
They may not look modern, but they look cool. They look cool. I feel like I'm in an RPG. That is just like, I don't know. I feel like also they don't really teach us enough about like stuff around like local things, right? That doesn't really happen that much, right? About like local buildings, local events from the past, right? They don't really teach us that whatsoever. It's kind of sad. It really is. But then again, you gotta have World War II 4 times here in Germany, 4 times, when you could have something else, entirely else.
They look quaint and old-fashioned. Why? Because they are decorated. And we don't associate decoration with cutting-edge technology. And that's a major difference between us and the Victorians in the 19th century. They saw no contradiction between startling modernity and time-honoured tradition. Just like this building, the legendary Houses of Parliament. It was brand new once, but even then, it had been designed in an old and medieval style of architecture. Every technology becomes obsolete and outdated. But a good aesthetic, even if fashions change, can never become obsolete.
That is very true. Good aesthetics don't like they're fun to look at, right? I mean, there's a reason why, for example, old pieces of clothing become modern again, old hairstyles become modern again, right? Because despite it being from like being older, outdated, it looks still good. It is still pleasing to the eye. That is not really the case with a lot of modern like I mean, look at our phones. They're all the same. They just have a different name. What is this? That's just one example. But also like houses. Like what is this? Every house has a similar layout or similar appearance from the outside. And it's like, it's just so boring. And they get more boring. They build new houses down my street, right? Completely new. They look all the same. It's so boring. I would argue today London is more sad. It probably is.
It is definitionally timeless. Those lamps on the embankment did their job. And even though more efficient and better methods of lighting have been invented, they remain 150 years later. That's the power of good design. And it applies to lampposts, no less.
It's not just good design. It is also the desire to preserve this, right? They would be gone if nobody would have cared, right? They're still there, they're still functioning because they're taken care of and they are being preserved. That eventually will be gone too, right? Eventually they're like, goodbye. That's gonna happen eventually.
And to national parliaments.
It is, I always look at old buildings and I'm like, this was made by humans? Like, I look at like these old buildings, interior and exterior, and I'm like, this was made by human hands? Humans can do this? Why? We have modern technology. Why are we not doing this anymore? This leaves behind culture. Again, I think that, again, I'm schizoing. I'm gonna be schizoing right now. I believe that there's like this modern style of like stripping things that you make out of like culture or identity is made on purpose. to make everything more similar, right? Unify, kind of like get rid of old cultures and unify society. That's kind of the idea I'm having, right? Right? World Economic Forum? I know what you are, I just can't prove it. Actually, I can prove it. This is what men used to do before they started crying online and watching OFs. Yep. True. This is hard and it's not a Renaissance anymore. I don't think it would be so hard to trade this without modern technology and modern tools. Budget poke, I don't care about the budget. Yo, if you can send a bajillion euros to Peru to build bicycle ways, you can create a good-looking lamppost. The government will say no budget. No budget, my ass. No budget, my ass. You're just too stupid to spend your money effectively. That's what it is.
And so here, in the Houses of Parliament, everything we've been talking about comes together at last. Except that this is not the Houses of Parliament. It's an old sewage facility, a pumping station built in the 19th century as part of Bazalgette's new sewer system. Strange to think that this is infrastructure, a purely functional building with the sole purpose of managing human waste. And yet, it has been designed with the same
Wait, what? That went completely past me.
Human waste. A purely functional building with the sole purpose of managing human waste.
This building was made to talk about human shit? The fuck? What? Why? But cool, I guess. Hey, if you talk about shit, you might as well do it while looking cool, I guess. It's harder than what we do and much more expensive. And if you noticed, we're not pitching our culture. We're doing the opposite. I mean, yeah, we are doing that. Also, I think it's much harder because like the craft of like being able to do this was not like supported in any way, shape, or form. So I believe for once it's not just expensive, it's just that also like nobody's alive who is able to recreate this because it's like fairly specific and you need to have that skill. But if nobody's around that has that kind of skill, you won't be able to do that. That's also that. Vandals, that's also true, yeah. And we need Michelangelo, true. Yeah, that's mostly the issue as well, right? We don't have the people that can do this. Governments don't make Victorian lampposts because they're expensive and hard to maintain. I mean, mostly, right? We're talking about the exterior, right? How it looks. Not what's actually inside as like technology, right? So that's the thing. Right? See, every time has its identity, right? It's not I think it's not just about going back to like old design things, old things were designed, right? I think it's also about having like a time and like a culture having its own identity. And like these should be reflected by the surroundings, right? But that's not really the case nowadays because everything looks similar-ish. Yes, but the artists, the molds, etc. Yeah, I get what you mean. But I don't think that it's really about everything supposedly looking like this. I think it's more so that things don't have an identity. Things look plain and just like uninspiring. I think that's what it is. Like the last speech of Professor Legasov, huh? I don't know who that is. He said the failure in Chernobyl nuke facility was because it was built with cheap materials. Why? Because it's cheaper. Yep. People are like, oh, nuclear energy, dangerous. And it's like, usually when stuff happens, that stuff was a human error. Chernobyl was a human error. Our current time has no identity. Everything is just smooth and lifeless. That's what I'm. That's the core of what I'm saying. Everything it has no identity. Like that's why every country's heritage area, like the London has Big Ben, India has Taj Mahal. Yeah. Obviously, not everything needs to look like super crazy, right? But like a better, like more alive, design for things would already change a lot.
And yet, it has been designed with the same ornamental exuberance as any church or palace. Why? Well, people worked here. And why shouldn't people who work in sewers also have a beautiful place of work? That is how the Victorians thought. But there's more. There was also a sense of pride.
You have to consider this. This place looks better and might be a better place to work at, right? This might be a better place to work at than most factories everywhere. Most industry stuff. It's just like it looks worse. And then you have like these people in like the Dark Ages essentially talking about like shit and stuff. It's just crazy to look at fancy while doing so.
A belief that what they'd done here was worthwhile, that it meant something. And the result, over a century later, is that this place, a sewage facility, is now a museum, a tourist destination. If you want to know what any society really believes in, just look at how they design their sewers. Just a few steps from the old 19th century Victorian pumping station.
Danger, concealed entrance, slow down.
Which has now been decommissioned, is the one built to replace it. It's not bad, I suppose. But it was very clearly not built by the same society, or at least not by a society with the same views about architecture and design. Will this, like the original, be turned into a museum? Maybe.
Pumping station? It might be. It might be. It could be, yeah.
In any case, I imagine that it is more functional and that it was more convenient to build and to design. Convenient. Now that's an important word. Look at this air conditioning unit.
I mean, yeah, that's why how things are built nowadays, right? Convenience. And I get it. You want to save money, like, right? From a business perspective, it is more smart, right? It's convenience. It's convenience. Yeah. It does make sense that it is convenience, right? Needs, nah, they ignore needs. Oftentimes, yes. Well, they do look at needs. Only their own needs.
I think it says more about the modern world than anything else, more than phones or social media. It's a miraculous technology, one that has changed the world and improved billions of lives. Hence, we stick them literally everywhere. But it's ugly. Ugly because it doesn't seem to express any belief in the idea that ordinary things can also be beautiful. But worse than ugly, it's boring. Now, it would certainly be a bit more expensive to make it prettier, take a little time and care and attention, but these days, it seems that we would rather make more money to make things look pretty. And maybe that's okay. So you can see, I hope, that through something as simple as those lampposts, you can understand the Victorians in their entirety. They didn't have to make it look like that, but they did. Now, you might not think it's beautiful, but I don't think it was supposed to be beautiful. It was just supposed to be pretty, at least interesting.
Yeah, I think that also. And not gonna lie, like benches like these are also look cool, right? benches like these and benches in general, we need that as well. We need you to do a video like this about Germany. Too bad I live in the middle of nowhere, so well I couldn't even show off interesting stuff even if I wanted to. See, it's also like benches. Fucking benches. Places where you plant your ass and you look good while doing it. It's just interesting what was going on back in the day. It's just so interesting. And now it's like these ugly anti-homeless benches. Benches should be everywhere. They should be everywhere. They should be everywhere. Now you get these ugly anti-homeless ones. Ugh.
At least not boring. And that, in itself, says an awful lot. Walking.
Right? When I look at this, right? When I look at this, when I hate middle benches, they're lethal in the summer, I guess, yeah. See, when I look at this, this doesn't inspire me. This looks like job. This looks like, see, this doesn't inspire me. I look at this, I'm like, man, that's cool. I look at this, I'm like, do I have to go to work yet? This looks like job. To me, this looks like job. It just does.
Around a city, any city, and looking at its buildings and its infrastructure, you're not just looking at objects. You're looking at religions and principles, beliefs and ideas. These buildings, they don't just look different. They represent fundamentally different worldviews, clashing ideas about how we should all think, live, and behave. And those skyscrapers say the same thing as our air conditioning units and sewage plants, that we have become a society of convenience above all else.
Convenience and consumerism. Insert job application links, true and real. True. It does look like job application.
But there's something else that we haven't mentioned about these lampposts. It would be easy to believe that they were made by artists and that we somehow wouldn't be able to or couldn't afford to make them anymore. But just like our modern lampposts, our air conditioning units, our everything, these were also mass-produced, made in a factory. We could still mass-produce lamps just like these if we wanted to. We can make our offices and our warehouses look like Crossness pumping station. We could make anything we want. That's the ultimate truth, the hardest one to accept. But we don't. We have other priorities.
Exactly. Exactly. It's just like convenience, right? We could mass produce these things, but we won't. There's no point to it.
And that's fine. But it's vital we accept that there is another way. Modern design tells the truth very loudly, that we are technologically superior and very efficient, but also a little bit boring and unimaginative. And it says that we no longer believe in the idea of ordinary beauty, or in the idea of a public that deserves ordinary beauty. Museums and galleries are wonderful places where we can come and look at things that people used to make and admire their handiwork. They're not just dead historical artifacts. These are living echoes of different ideas about what the world is and what the world could be.
It's also, I think, how the exterior of a society reflects is how it, like, what the exterior of a society reflects also shows what a society thinks. And I think that our, like, modern time of like everything looking lifeless and bland might also be partially a reflection of growing nihilism in our society. Now I'm schizoing, but hey, it is what it is. I do believe that this is an extension of our growing nihilism.
But in the end, you can't live in a museum.
I mean, you could. You wouldn't stay like that for long, but you could. I've gone to London a few times. Each time called someone a wanker on the street. should go around and call people sausages.
Now, why things have changed is a significant question, but that's for another time. For now, what's important is to realize that things clearly have changed, and that we've learned this just by looking at all the ordinary objects around us. Now, this isn't about past versus present. It's about learning from the past in order to improve the present. And what the Victorians can teach us is that even ordinary, useful things can also be beautiful.
Before we get nuked by music. So here's what I believe. Here's what I believe, okay? Here's what I believe. I believe that this is all just essentially what it is a psyop. It is essentially just what I believe. We're trying to basically people are trying to erode cultures and make everything more same-ish, because I think control and also just to eradicate differences on purpose. It's just like we can make things beautiful, we just refuse to. And to be fair, it probably does save money, unfortunately, but man, can we go back to more beautiful stuff? I want more beautiful things. Thank you. That's what I want. I want more beautiful stuff. London's overhyped massively. There's cool stuff, but it's so dangerous. It's not worth it. That's probably like most major cities in the West here that are now really dangerous due to reasons. I mean, hey, you can't even ride a train without getting a little stabbing action on. Anyways, like, comment, and subscribe.